Hello and welcome back to the all new, all different number one comics podcast bonus episode. I'm Dan. That's Nick. Nick, how are you?
I'm doing well. It's a nice Saturday afternoon. I got my Snoopy cup for this kids comic book that we're about to do.
Hell yeah, yeah,
Not
yeah,
really.
yeah. It's something like that. For all of you who weren't in the previous conversation, which was all of you, I guess. Nick and I were just talking some Halloween costumes and some mishaps, but or not mishaps, I guess, but all the detail that goes into making a Halloween costume versus just going to like Spirit and buying one, which
Yeah,
I'm
all
not
the
gonna lie, at this
struggles.
point sounds a lot cooler,
Yeah.
but yeah, I guess it's pretty rewarding once you have like a cool like homemade costume on. I won't lie about that. Like when I showed up in the werewolf thing, like there definitely were people that were like, "Oh shit, you made that yourself?" And I was like, "Yeah, I did for like 6 hours." But
Yeah,
yeah,
you don't know the pain that went into this costume.
I know, man. Arts and crafts, they're yeah, serious. It's no joke. But yeah, anyway, so yeah, it's close to Halloween time. We're talking costumes, we're talking horror movies, we're talking all that, and then of course we're talking this comic book, which is let's see if I can get it on camera. Okay, yeah, I got this cover. So
Very nice.
beneath the trees where nobody sees. This is an IDW comic, and yeah, this is an interesting comic. I'm actually really excited to talk about this. This has like a really weird tone to it and everything. I guess first off, let's get into the creative team. Like always, I'll butcher both of these names, but I tried to like break down some pronunciations here that I wrote, so we'll see if that helps me at all. But I don't know if I'll even get close. But it's written and illustrated by Patrick Horvath, is what I'm gonna say. We'll see if that's right. And then it's lettered by Hassan Otsman Elhau. I don't know. That's
Sounded
probably
good.
completely off. But
Good job,
either way,
Dan.
that's yeah, maybe. Thank you. But yeah, that's our creative team. So I didn't even realize when I was making my notes, to tell you the truth. I don't know if you did, but I'm just opening up to that first page there that kind of has the town's like newspaper or whatever it is.
Mhm.
Uh, and I didn't realize that the the author illustrated this book as well. Like I don't know how that slipped. I kept thinking the whole time that Hassan was the one that illustrated the book. So
Yeah, I the first time I read through it, I thought the same thing. I was like, "Oh, Patrick Horvath," and I did a little background on him.
mhm.
Supposedly he does movies. He's
Oh, cool.
actually I think he's acted in a couple of movies too, but like not
Nice.
not too not too like up in the front of the camera. But
Sure.
he more of a movie guy. The second time I read it, I was like, "Oh," and I saw the illustrated by. I was like, "Wow, that's kind of
Yeah.
cool." I love when we get into the Ryan Stegman when we did the schlub.
Yep. Mhm.
Like, I don't understand how that's even possible. It's not in my wheelhouse of things that I do. I can't write and draw. I can't draw or write. So, but it's
And do
like
we?
like with me, I can play guitar, but I can't sing. You know what I mean?
Mhm.
So playing guitar and singing to me is a foreign world. And people who do it, I have a lot of respect for. So I actually have a lot of respect for the guy who did this because it's pretty good.
Yeah, no, I agree. There's lots of like skills where people kind of do this thing. I'm trying to remember who I talked to a little while ago. I had somebody. It completely slips my mind. I think his name was Ryan something, but I had this dude on the podcast who had a book coming out, and we talked a little bit, and like his credits were like, dude is like an author like of books, comic book author, also illustrator, also cartoonist, also actor, director. Like it was just like I was like, dude, is there anything you don't do? And he was like, not really. But I was like, damn, that's so cool. Because I'm with you. Like, we're both like musically inclined. I play drums. I can play guitar and bass as well. And like, I couldn't sing to save my life. Like, if my life depended on it, like that's never gonna happen. So I always admire those people that are like either the whole package where they can like do different things at the same time. That's so cool. I just imagine whenever you're scripting a comic book, because I've gotten into that like a lot lately. I try to write, but like never anything that I feel like is good enough to like send off to an illustrator or anything. But you're sitting there scripting something with the intent of, okay, this is how this is like in my mind. I'm going to send it over to you to like punch this up and make it the way it should be or whatever. But whenever you're doing that to yourself, that seems, I don't know how they do that. I talked to, again, like Tyler Crook a little while ago about that process, and it seemed so interesting because he almost was like, yeah, I have to script it and like act like I'm sending it to somebody else so I can sit there and illustrate it. And I was like, that's so
Oh,
weird. Like,
interesting.
yeah, I just can't imagine that process. It seems really, really cool. But yeah, a lot of respect here because this is cool. Like, it might not be, the style or whatever might not be everybody's thing. I can see that, I guess. But yeah, just imagine, trying to do all this is insane. This is a big task. So
Hmm.
really, really cool and cool creative team. Again, like I said, IDW book, and just in time for Halloween, I think. This one, you know, I am like going back and forth if I want to read the synopsis from IDW because it's really long. So, I mean, I guess I'll try to stumble through it really quick, but I'll try to go as fast as possible. So, this one starts: Don't murder the locals. This is a small town serial killer, upstanding citizen, and adorable brown bear, Samantha Strong's cardinal rule. After all, there's a sea of perfectly ripe potential victims in the big city just beyond the forest. And when you've worked as hard as Sam to build a cozy life and a thriving business in a community surrounded by friendly fellow animal folk, warm decor, and the aroma of cedar trees and freshly baked apple pie, the last thing you want is to disturb the peace. So you can imagine, I don't even know that word. When one of Woodbrick's own meets a grisly, mysterious demise, and you won't blame her for doing anything it takes to hunt down her rival before the town self destructs and Sheriff Patterson starts literally barking up the wrong tree. Live, laugh, shed blood. Dexter meets Richard Scarry's busy town in writer artist Patrick uh, Horvath's twisted debut of Beneath the Trees Where Nobody Sees. So again, sorry, kind of long winded and I stumbled a little bit there, but that's to be expected with me reading something. So, yeah, and intense solicit. Like, this is one of those times I'm really happy I didn't really read the solicit beforehand. Like, I could obviously tell by the cover this was not just going to be like a happy anthropomorphic animal tale, but and by the title, but yeah, that kind of, I don't know, in my opinion, like spills a little bit too much of what's going on here.
Hmm. Well, the cover does.
Yeah, yeah, definitely. I mean, yeah, we know what's going to happen, but
Yeah,
yeah.
the cover I have, which I get all these online. So
Mhm.
I have the cover of the bear holding a sack, and it's all bloody, and they're dragging it through the woods, and it's leaving a trail. So I knew exactly what was going to happen
Yeah,
from the get go. But I think I didn't know how. Like, I wasn't expecting how brutal it was going to be.
yeah,
The synopsis that you just said was perfect because when it said Dexter meets Richard Scarry's Busy Town,
yep,
that I was thinking like Berenstain Bears or like Arthur or something like that meets Dexter, obviously,
yeah.
because very, it's just the beginning is very, it's like way too nice, right?
Oh
Obviously,
yeah,
it's like
definitely.
way too nice. You could totally tell that like something not right is happening here because everyone is like, have you ever seen Hot Fuzz?
Yeah, mhm.
So Hot Fuzz, everything in the beginning, you have that detective who's like kind of a little bit suspicious of everyone because why is everything perfect here? Why is everything so
Yeah.
nice? This doesn't make any sense. There has to be something wrong, right? Um,
Yep.
so everyone knows everyone's name in this town. I love the different use of all the animals.
Yeah.
I loved the guy who keeps forgetting everything. Like he's the
Mhm.
the old guy who's like, "Where did I put my glasses?" And they're like, "You're wearing your glasses." And he's like, "Oh yeah." I love that. Oh, and
In
also
there,
your
yeah.
clipboard's upside down. And he's like, "Oh yeah, I'm reading this upside down." It's so funny. I just love the use of all the animals, the politeness of everybody, the small
Mhm.
town. And then I also loved the second time I went around with this. I loved watching the bear's demeanor change as
Yeah,
things happened. I
yeah.
loved watching the bright eyes, and then when it's time to get serious, the eyes just go, "Whoa," and it goes
Mhm.
straight down. And okay, time to get to business. I love that. Um,
Yep.
you could tell this is another thing where it's like, well, I couldn't tell at first, but with the writer and illustrator aspect, I was like,
Mhm.
wow, like it's very in sync with what's going on. Like they know every panel is supposed to be a certain way. Right when they leave Okay, we'll go into that later, but sorry, I'm long-winded because I'm trying to like get through everything that I thought, but very very well done with like the whole animal small town aspect. I love that.
Yeah, I really like it too. It's like you said, like it's a good juxtaposition of what's happening in the story to have these anthropomorphized animals because I think, how would the story play out or what would we think about it if these were humans? It's been done. Like who really cares? Like it's not like you could make something shocking, to where it would be that memorable or anything like that. So yeah, to kind of set it like this and to have this cutesy illustration going on and everything, and like it's solicited there, the Richard Scarry's what's it called, Busy World or
Like
something
Busy
like that.
Town.
Yeah, Busy Town, sure. Yeah, like it does, like it kind of reminds me of that like a lot. I like the palette of colors that they use. It's very pastel and soft and everything, and very, very interesting. One of the things that I wanted to point out, and I don't know where this goes, but it's just like, a wandering side note or thought or whatever. I love how, and I don't know if this happens in like Richard Scarry's books or not. I don't remember those very well, but I love how there's the anthropomorphized animals and then like regular animals too. Like they're like
Right. Yeah.
at the beginning, like Samantha's like kind of petting this Dalmatian, and then of course later when she's in the forest and everything, the other bear and the foxes and stuff come out. So foxes, is that, yeah, right, okay, that's how you
Fox Eye.
pluralize foxes. Fox, yeah, I don't know. You're a teacher, you tell me, but
Oh, actually, I don't know. I think it's foxes.
yeah, I'm pretty sure it's foxes too, but yeah, really, really cool, and again, like it's so soft, like in the way it looks, like you said, though. I mean, it's too nice, it's too idyllic, it looks too nice, and everybody's too nice and everything. Like, of course, we know from pulling back the curtain on just having consumed media before, if stuff is this nice, then something very, very bad is going on.
Hmm.
I was talking before we started recording to you about listening to a Twin Peaks podcast, and like I always I'm completely ruined by that. So anytime anything's a small town, I'm like, nah, I mean, people are getting like slaughtered everywhere. Like there's crazy stuff happening. Like everyone's having an affair with everyone else. So uh, love that stuff. But yeah, what about this story then? So this story is blocked like in a really interesting way. It starts off with, it's very, I don't know, just showing the characters in the story, showing the town. It's really building the world here that we're seeing. This small town is going through like a bicentennial celebration and everything. Everybody's kind of preparing for that, and we're meeting all the townspeople. And in the middle of that, we kind of zero in on what Samantha's got going on, and Samantha being like the local business owner, and everybody knows Samantha. Everybody gets along with Samantha, whatever. Uh, Samantha has this insane bloodlust where she's got to go out and kill somebody, but she has this, you know, huge rule where she's like, I keep it clean. I don't do it in town. I
Hmm.
keep it away from everything. So she's got it all figured out. And then that's demonstrated here in the book, which I thought was, I mean, they spent a lot of time on demonstrating this like pretty brutal killing here. Like
Yeah.
that character is like a duck or a goose or something. I'm assuming a duck, but
Yeah.
yeah, the character that Samantha goes out of town and kind of like a ducks, and then murders is a duck. And I mean, we're getting to the point where Samantha's, I don't know, like roping him up and then slitting his neck to drain all the blood and then cutting
It
him
was
into
extremely
pieces.
brutal.
Yeah.
Like that part, when I was reading this and when I got about halfway through the story, right? I was like, okay,
Uh-huh.
now we're gonna start getting to something.
Yep.
And the actual killing was extremely brutal. Like
Yeah.
it was not like fun at all.
No.
Like I didn't like watching it really.
Yeah,
I was
I
like,
agree. It was like a little
I'm
too
gross, but
disturbing.
I'm gross, but that was like, wow, like this is bad. Like
Yeah.
the chainsaw, the
Mhm.
cutting of the body into perfect pieces,
Yeah. Uh-huh.
the brain like like half out and it's sliced in
Exactly.
half.
Yeah.
I was
Yeah.
like,
We get that
wow, like
cross section of the brain.
this is
Oh.
crazy, but it's really only like 2 pages.
Yeah.
But like just okay, like to break it down step by step, it was hammer,
Yep.
nail in the head, killed
Mhm.
him, automatically killed him,
Yep.
roped him up, knife to the neck like an animal, right? Like
Yep.
you would do that with cows. You drain.
Mhm.
That's how you drain cow blood. Is you slit their neck, and then you let the blood drain into like a bowl or a bucket, and then perfectly diced into like I don't know, like 30 pieces or 40 pieces or something like that.
Mhm.
And then he puts it, or Samantha, it's a girl, sorry.
Mhm.
Samantha puts the body parts into like paint buckets and
Yeah.
closes them like very methodically, and then buries them into nice, neat holes. And then there was a line in this that I really liked where it would said like, "No one knows anything that I'm doing except for Mother Nature. Mother
Yep.
Nature is always the wiser." And I was like, "Ah,
Mhm.
that's really good," because like the foxes are around and they're sniffing around and they're
Yep.
like, "Yeah, we know what you're doing." Like I liked that a lot.
Yep.
But there was a couple themes in here that I really liked. The of course the psychoticness of like, okay, this is what's happening in my brain, and I have to like get rid of these ideas in order to keep myself sane throughout
Mhm.
my normal life and my business. But then the other theme of like rural life versus city life, and the fact that Samantha could not do this in her rural town because
Yep.
someone would know and people would find out. So
Mhm.
always go to the city because no one bats an eye when someone goes missing in the city. It's just
Mhm.
another person gone. Maybe they moved away. Like
Yep.
in a rural
Yeah.
town, no one moves away. They just stay there forever, right?
Yeah,
So
yeah, no, exactly. There's gonna be
I
like
like
a
that theme.
lot of conversation if somebody's leaving like a small town. Yeah, everybody's gonna know why, where they're going, what's going on. But
Mhm.
yeah, you're right. Like in a big city here, whatever. It happens every day. Somebody goes missing, somebody leaves, whatever. Yeah, and the part that you said, like where Samantha is, or I guess the narration is kind of saying that like Mother Nature knows, that's the only person that knows or whatever. Um, you kind of see how like, I don't know if methodical is the right word, but like Samantha almost has like this weird demeanor about her where she like, everything's like perfect, everything's nice and clean, everything's nice and tidy. Like she's got all this planned out exactly the way she's gonna do it. Gets rid of every little piece of evidence, has everything in the paint can there, like buries all that stuff, and just kind of stands there for a second and admires her work, and her word bubble, or uh, whatever her dialogue bubble says, nice and clean.
Yeah.
um, yeah, just it. I like that weirded me out so much where I was just like, ugh, I kind of
Yeah. It's
don't
gross,
know.
right?
I want to take a shower after this, and that's. I mean, I guess that is, Samantha goes home and jumps in the tub, has like a nice cozy uh, bath there, I think,
Yep.
and
Nice and clean.
yeah,
Yep.
just reads a book, has
Samantha
some
read the book,
coffee or
drink some
whatever.
tea, has some
Yeah,
cookies,
yeah,
and light some incense. It was like
uh-huh.
the deed's done, everything's nice. And I just love the like what I was saying before, the satisfied look
Hmm.
on her face. Like the look on her face before when she was driving out to the city was very like, I'm I need to kill someone. It was very
Yep,
like serious and like I'm not messing around right now. Like
yep.
this is a different part of me. And then right when she's done, she smiles and goes, "Cool, cool. Like
Yeah.
I can relax now." You know?
Yep, back to my front or my normal life, whichever one's the normal and whichever one's the front. Yeah, just a really weird look into like the mind of somebody who's killing people or whatever. Kind of makes me a little nervous about Patrick. Not gonna lie, you know. um,
Yeah, a little
Hopefully
bit. Yeah.
Patrick's just read a lot of books or watched a lot of movies or something. But I don't know. I mean, I'd be glad to have Patrick on the podcast. In this like this, screen to screen. But I don't think I want to have him over for dinner or anything. But
As
little.
long as if you live in a big city, do not invite Patrick over.
No, please don't. But yeah, and I mean, it comes across. I guess is what I'm trying to say is I feel like for the material that this is, of course, I have no experience with this, but it feels like it really comes across, kind of like you
Mhm.
were saying, like the face and everything, the tone shifts, and it's very pleasantries and formalities and everything, and talking to everybody and this community, and then it just shifts all of a sudden. It's like, all right, I have to go kill someone now, like
Yep.
just that psychoticness or whatever just flips on there. And I wonder, I don't know if this is a three-part or what. That's all I see solicited so far is three parts. And actually what kind of sucks is the next issue doesn't drop until December, so we're not getting a November issue. So like,
Uh,
the cliffhanger is really gonna hang for a little bit on this. But
yeah, you want to talk about the cliffhanger? You want to get
yeah,
into it?
definitely. Yeah, for sure. I don't. Okay, well, that's kind of where we left off. Samantha, gets out of the tub, has some friends over, has dinner or whatever's going on there, and then, like I said at the top, the bicentennial is going on in the town. So there, big celebration out in the streets. Everybody's got floats and stuff. There's a parade going on and all of that, and yeah, we see. I don't know who this character is supposed to be. I don't know if I missed this somewhere, but we get Birdie, who is I don't know if it's supposed to be like the mayor or something. Like for some reason I'm thinking mayor, but I don't know what makes me think that. Maybe just the top hat or something. But
Is it the turtle?
yeah, uh-huh.
Oh, okay, yeah.
Yeah. So we get the turtle character who's kind of riding on this float that's a I don't know, like a old school boat. Like what do you call that? Like a ship from
Yeah, just a wooden ship.
yeah, like I
Yeah,
said.
and it's got the sail
Mhm.
going down it. It looks very nice and old school.
Yeah, exactly. I don't know what time period to put that in, but I don't know. If you guys can't visualize, go pick up the book.
Mhm,
But yeah, it's got this big like mast, fabric that's covering the front that would be the sail and everything, and then something happens, and one of the rings holding it up breaks, and then we get a reveal of a goat, a ram. I'm not great with identifying animals. I'm going to say a ram because its horns are kind of curved, but
mhm,
uh, a ram that's like crucified behind this mast,
mhm.
bloodied up, everything, and then crucified. Like crucified is the best way to describe it. Like you would imagine, someone being crucified. And and again, we see that shift in Samantha's face and tone and everything, and it's
Mhm.
all business now. And while a lot of the other people, are horrified and everything, Samantha has this standstill on her face, this very blank, no expression, just like shit,
Yep.
and I love the last narration. It's not dialogue. It doesn't come out of Samantha's mouth, but it's like narrated like the rest of the book, kind of on those little index cards or whatever that are there. Um, it says that this was going to be a major fucking problem,
Yeah.
and
Can
it
we
fits.
can we read that whole thing? I
Oh
actually
yeah, yeah,
I
for sure.
love this last page.
Yeah,
So
please.
throughout the whole book, right? You got
Mhm.
the nice town, whatever. Then you go and you kill someone, and then the mood shifts, and you have this like super cross sectional dissected splash page where it's just like
Yeah,
a one huge page of just someone like dissected, which was like a huge turning point for me because my brain went, oh my god,
yeah.
this writer is very like disgusting, and I like it. I'm a Garth Ennis fan, so uh, and then you get into the shit. Okay, we know this stuff. Like this has happened before. We've read something like this, right? Or
Mhm.
we've seen stuff like this before. And then you have the float and the parade or whatever. And then you have that moment that you said where her face is very serious and like everyone else is saying, "What is going on?" And she's saying, "Oh no, what is going on?" Like
Uh-huh.
this is bad for me
Yep.
because like someone else is like showing off. And
Mhm.
this is what it says in the last page. I'm going to read this whole thing.
Yeah,
Let's
please.
say you did have someone who didn't play by the rules, just started murdering folks right here in Woodbrook. Wouldn't take much bad luck for an investigation to stumble onto the wrong killer and find out what this town's favorite brown bear has been up to over the past couple decades. If someone were stupid enough to do that, then we'd have a problem. A major fucking problem. I was like,
Yeah.
yeah, that's cool. I was like, "Oh, yeah." That got me
Mhm.
hooked right there. I was like, "Next issue, please. Let's
Mhm.
see if we could find whoever's doing this. Who is doing this?" Like, because the person
Yeah.
who got killed and who was crucified is the person that I was, like, so interested in the whole time, which was the person who doesn't know that they have glasses on their face, and they're the old
Mhm.
person who, doesn't know that they're, like, they have no idea what's going on. They kinda have a bit of, not dementia, but they just, like, forget where things are all the
Yep. Mhm.
time, and they're just old and they need help, and then someone killed them, and that's like to me, that's like, wow, like, that's messed up because this is like a
Yeah.
helpless old person. It's not like a Samantha kill, right? Because
Mhm.
a Samantha kill was this person's young, they have vitality, they have energy, they have life, and I'm gonna kill them. this guy was like close to death, and you murdered him and crucified him. That's a whole other way of doing it, right? Because this person's helpless. There's no, to me, if you're like a serial killer, is there fun in that? You know what I mean?
Yeah, I don't know. And I would imagine, they probably all operate very differently. Maybe for that killer, I don't know. Maybe there's a reason that we'll get into. That's kind of what I'm scared of with this only being, as far as I see, 3 issues. I don't know how they're going to resolve this in 3 issues. But maybe it's just this first volume, or maybe it continues on past that. I'm not too sure. But yeah, I'd love to know how we got to this point. Is it another serial killer? Is it um is it someone who just really doesn't care, and they're just, taking down citizens of this town? Is it somebody who has a personal vendetta against this character? We really have no clue what's going on here. But yeah, I think it's kind of supposed to read as like there's a rival serial killer here. That's what I gathered out of it. It
Right.
seems like that's what you gathered too. So yeah, what was the purpose?
Is there someone that doesn't? Is there someone who knows what Samantha's doing and is doing this to mess with Samantha? Right.
Yeah.
That could be another thing. Or is it someone from the city going to rural towns? Like there
Mhm.
could be that flip.
Yeah, definitely. Oh, yeah, yeah. They're like, I keep seeing all these random killings. Let me go here. But yeah, I'm not too sure. But yeah, that's a big cliffhanger. And I'll say this, of course, we don't have to reserve our opinions for the end or anything like that. But I I would say once we got to that midsection of the book where we got the really intense, like, graphic killing and everything,
Mhm.
that wasn't necessarily like a selling point for me. Again, it was very disturbing, and I almost didn't want to look at it, but it was fine. I can deal with that. I'm not that much of a baby, but I was like, okay, it's grotesque, but this has been done, whatever. But this final page, like, Patrick really set up the cliffhanger here, because now I'm 110% invested, and I have to know what happens next. And I'm pissed we're not getting an issue next month. I
Yeah.
really want to dive deeper into this world and see what's going on. And now we got to wait a little bit. But yeah, very, for me at least, the cliffhanger was everything in this book.
Right. Yep. That splash page with the crucifixion and Samantha
Yeah.
realizing that there's something afoot in the town that's not
Hmm.
her, you know? It's
Yep.
like it's like turning the it's like turning the head on the situation. It's like, "Oh, now the tables have turned." Like, you thought you had this figured out for 20 years, all of
Hmm.
a sudden you don't, and yeah, I think I she said that something like, "I've been doing this for 20 years, never
Yeah.
had a problem,"
Mhm.
things like that, and now she has a problem.
Yeah.
Good
Just
job, Patrick, on that
yeah.
last page.
Yeah.
That's
Very.
what we're saying. Good job.
Yeah, I can't imagine, setting this up. Like, it's yeah, super interesting to get that hook. I think that it kind of like it's very layered in that way. Like, you're getting the cutesy animal thing, the small town vibe and everything, and then it goes into the killing, then it goes into this. That's only 3 layers when I say it, but as you look at this book and read it and everything, like, there's just a lot there. It's pretty packed, pretty dense with different things that unfold. So you really get a feel for the characters and stuff too, as you go along, even if they only have, like, a couple of panels or just a few pieces of dialogue. Like, you really kind of get a feel of them. So yeah, really really cool, really crazy, interesting book. We get the little next issue preview, and it shows a pig character walking by a butchery that has pig heads and pieces in the window, and she's kind of looking into that and staring at her own reflection. So that's also very intense and very cool. So
Yeah, that's interesting too, right? Because if you
mhm.
have animals and also people who are animals, this always confused me.
Yeah.
It's like if you have people who are animals and animals who are animals,
Mhm.
and you see like yourself in those animals, is that weird when you eat something that is of yourself? Because this pig is looking into a butchery and there's pig heads and stuff like that. And it's just like it's kind of like interesting to me
Yeah,
that
right. Like, it seems like it would be like bother you in some way, like, luckily at this point in time, it's not socially acceptable to eat humans. But if it were, how would we feel if we were like, you and I didn't eat humans, but like some portion of the population did? Like,
Yeah.
I mean, I would think, I would look down on those people, and I would feel very disgusted if there was like, cuts of people at a grocery store or something like that. So yeah,
Right.
I,
Yeah.
I I think that would bother me quite a bit. But yeah, an interesting question to think about. But I don't want to think about it anymore, so I'll get it out of my head now. But not something that I wanted to think about today. But yeah,
it
but
it is Halloween though. We can talk about
exactly,
disgusting
yeah.
stuff like this. Yeah.
Yeah, it's okay this month. But yeah, that's kind of what I wanted to say here. That pretty much wraps up the book and our, dissection of it or whatever. But I think that this is like the perfect complement to right now. This was a great time for this to come out. Really fits the tone of Halloween. A great book to come out at this time. And just yeah, I personally think this is really, really cool. Again, it took me that last page to really hook me,
Mhm.
but it definitely did. And I definitely want to see what's going to happen next. So those are my thoughts on it. Whatever you want to add, please.
No, yeah, go pick it up just for some of the ideas in here, and also those pages where it's just if you're not grossed out by
Yeah.
stuff and you're interested in things like Dexter, or things like if you want a Dexter thing with the feel of Berenstain Bears or Arthur or something like
Yeah.
that,
If you were
go
missing
pick
that in your life, yeah.
yeah, go pick this up and just like uh gaze at the very organized way that someone could kill someone, and that
Mhm.
really like threw me for a loop because I was reading it at night and I was like, wow, this is pretty intense.
Yeah. Yeah, I can imagine just, you're open to the middle of this book here and that spread and everything, and then you try to go to sleep after that, what kind of dreams you might have or whatever.
Yeah. But yeah,
But
I definitely would recommend picking up issue 2.
yeah.
I'm really sad that it's in December and
Yeah.
I'm gonna forget about, because then I forget about things. We read so many comics that
Mhm.
it's like I tend to forget about stuff. I actually am looking at this and it says, since I have the Kindle version, it says
Mhm.
Beneath the Trees Where Nobody Sees, number 1 of 6.
Oh, 6. Okay, good, good. Yeah,
So
okay.
it looks like it'll be a 6-parter, which is great.
Awesome. Yeah, yeah, that'll give them some time to really flesh it out a lot more than, yeah, 3 sounded scary. So
Yeah.
So yeah, six could definitely do something. I'm hearing, and I don't usually talk about this per se on the podcast, but why not? I like to like kind of look at reviews a little bit here and there, see what's out on the internet, and see if people are talking about a book before we cover it at all. And a lot of times, like it's we're doing this. It's so topical. It just came out, this past Wednesday, so there's not been a lot of time for reviews to come out or whatever. But a lot of times, we're kind of like, the first or second review out there, and then it builds from there. This one's got a lot of really good reviews. One of the sites or apps that I look at a lot is what is the name of this thing? Comic Geek. Sorry, League of Comic Geeks. I don't know if you're familiar with that app, but
Yep.
really cool app. Yeah, really informative. But it's like a community driven app, so it's got all the elements of comic book database in there. You can search on the creators and everything, look more into the book, read the solicits, but it also has like community discussions and reviews and all of that as well. And this one's got a lot of reviews, every single one of them positive. I see one 4-star review, everything else is 5.
Wow.
It's got, yeah, a really, really good response from the comic book community. So people are really liking this a lot. And yeah, I don't know. I mean, I think that, if this wraps up well after 6 issues, I mean, IDW is definitely going to, order a second volume or something. There's a whole world here to flesh out, even if it's
Yep.
not necessarily just about, serial killing. There's a lot more you could flesh out in it. So I don't know. I think there's a lot of potential in this book. So I guess that's what I'm trying to say. There's a lot here, and it's very, very densely packed. So I feel like to take any of these side characters, and even if it's not about, something as, I don't know, horrible as murdering or whatever, you could still like dig into pockets here and find other interesting things to talk about that aren't just fun, cutesy animals or whatever.
Right. Yep. Totally agree.
Yeah, so I don't know, maybe we'll see some of that, but I do really look forward to seeing the world fleshed out here. And I guess, yeah, I mean, that about wraps it up. That's about it from me, unless you have anything else you want to say about it, Nick. But
Nope, go pick it up.
yeah,
Support.
yeah, for sure. Yeah, definitely go pick this one up. It's a very interesting read. So that's all Nick and I have to say about it. Thank you guys so much for listening, tuning in to the all new, all different #1 comics podcast. Make sure you check us out on the socials, and as always, use the hashtag all new, all different nation, so you can get a copy of this book sent to you if you win. But you gotta, you know, throw out a bunch of hashtags there. I need to see a lot of them. This is a cool book. I'm looking for, what do you think, Nick? 50 hashtags, and then I'll choose
Sure.
one. So I got to have 50 out there. We got the cool B cover here. I'll gladly send it to any one of you. I also ordered a New York Comic Con exclusive cover for this book. It's like a hollow foil cover, really cool. I don't know if, look, 200 hashtags and I'll make that one available too. But we need to see 50 for this cover. So make sure you guys do that. And Nick, thank you so much for joining me today to talk about Beneath the Trees Where Nobody Sees.
Thank you very much, Dan. I hope you have a wonderful Saturday.
Yeah, you too, man. Thanks.